Hello, and welcome to the December episode of Unfiltered Brew. I've got my brew here, and Kim Becker's joining me. You have yours.
I do. Thank goodness, because it's a little dry in here.
Yes, it is. But, that's okay. It's the holiday season.
It is.
I've got my bell necklace on, and I'm being very festive today. But, boy, this month is already going fast.
I know. I said, we were talking a little bit when I got into here, and I said, I feel like we get cheated when Thanksgiving is late. Mm-hmm. Because when Thanksgiving's late, then I don't feel like I've gotten, I put stuff off anyway. And now I put it off too long. And now like Christmas is a couple weeks away. I feel like I get less time after Thanksgiving to do all the things that need to be done for Christmas.
And there's a lot to be done. I mean, even as you get older, and my family has gotten smaller, but we're going to, I think Christmas, and we made this big decision because nobody likes to come to my house because of my animals.
Oh.
My brother and they don't like they're not animal people.
Okay.
So they assume that, if I cook food, even though I have my house cleaned every week, that if we have food at my house, it's going to have some kind of animal hair in it. That's their view. So I said, okay, we'll have it at your house. Well, my brother's been sick and he's elderly, so they can't do it there. So we went to my sister-in-law's sister, who's even more elderly, on Thanksgiving. So we went there, and I said,
"Do you bring the average age down in that group?"
I do. I really do. I'm one of the younger ones. But it's kind of funny because I told Susie's her name, and she's 82 years old, hosting everybody for Thanksgiving. And I said, this is a lot of work. What are we going to do for Christmas? We can do something else. And I think she was fearing that I was going to say, come to my house. She goes, why don't we just go to Kankakee Grill or go to a nice restaurant? I said, I'm for that. It's a neutral ground. I don't feel like I have to.
If somebody else does the dishes, they clean up, they prepare all the food. Why not?
That's fine. Throw in a couple fancy Christmas cookies, and I'm fine.
That's right. I'm good to go.
But the holidays, they do change a lot, but yet you get so sentimental about them.
Yeah.
I mean, I always think about immediately when I was a kid, and I wanted this doll that walks. You hold her hand and it walks.
Yeah.
Well, my parents, my dad wasn't feeling well. He had to have surgery in Indianapolis one year, so I got the doll, but it was a generic version of the doll.
Oh.
And my mom thought it looked like
she tumble.
Well, I held her hand, and she was supposed to walk, but she did the splits. But I couldn't. I said, "Oh, I love her, Mom, but there's something wrong with her. She can't." Well, she just probably stopped at a Kmart on her way back from Indy and bought whatever she could find. Is what she did. Yeah. But she still got me something, and it was all good. And she goes, "Well, maybe Santa got you something better." And she was hoping that, and I said, well, maybe so. Well, it turns out that Santa forgot on Christmas that he left me something else the next week. Oh, so I didn't get another doll, but I got like a little TV, color TV to put in my bedroom.
That's awesome.
Right,
Santa was good to you.
Santa felt guilty that he missed us. But I mean, don't you remember when you were kids and stuff? Christmas memories. You have special memories.
You know what? It's fun because I remember that, and this was different than the Santa gifts. It was in addition to the gifts that Santa would bring us. But my parents both worked at South Bend Toy.
Oh.
So South Bend Toy was here in town where the old South Bend Chocolate Factory used to be. Mm-hmm. That was South Bend Toy. And there was one Christmas that I remember. So I have two younger sisters. I have three younger sisters, but my youngest sister wasn't born yet. So myself and my two younger sisters. Well, that Christmas, Milton Bradley bought out South Bend Toy.
Oh, was that good?
So, oh my gosh. Every Milton Bradley toy that was there, we got because my parents got a discount on it. So this was above and beyond what Santa brought us.
Wow.
This is what my parents brought us. So it was like all of the Simon and Connect Four and
all the
Merlin
cool stuff.
And the Numbers Up game where you would, try and all the games like that Milton Bradley had. Mm-hmm. We got those. Oh my gosh. I just remember that Christmas. It was so fun. And we loved playing games. And so then to have all the games from Milton Bradley was awesome.
And you try to recreate those when you have families too, and you have kids. I know with my stepkids when I was married, you tried to always recreate that and make memories for them. I know you've got Sethi and you always want to do things for them. And that's what makes it probably even more special when you have kids, right?
It is. And, the whole magic of Christmas and Santa and, and I don't know about you, but that's why that very first Christmas that Mike was gone, mm-hmm. I'm like, I can't stay here because I couldn't stand the thought of coming downstairs with there just being, Seth and I, and that was it. Sethi was like a freshman in high school and not having Mike there. I'm like, I can't stay here. And so I remember announcing to my family, I'm like, I won't be here for Christmas. I just can't. And they're like, where are you going to go? And I said, I don't know, but not here. And they're like, well, we're coming with you. And so that first Christmas after Mike died, we went to Gatlinburg. And it was, I just needed to be out of the ordinary. It needed to be something different, right?
You know, I did when my first husband, when Rick passed away, that first Christmas, I went out to Vegas to visit my brother.
Yeah.
And everybody said, you're going to be on Christmas Day out on the Las Vegas Strip. I said, yeah, I want the total opposite.
That's right.
Of anything.
That's
so
right.
I won't even associate.
That's right.
That.
That's right. That's what I needed to do too, was I needed to set a new precedence, because it was a big deal, and Mike loved Christmas, and you know, our stockings were a big deal when he was alive. And so I'm with you. I had to do something that was completely different. And so that's what we did.
And now I'm thinking about this Christmas, and it's far away. I'll be at a restaurant on Christmas Day. But I mean,
but you're with family. And I think that's what, the older that I've gotten, it's not where I am, it's who I'm with.
Absolutely. And you know, I think about as we all get older and we all get things wrong with us, and it's always very sad to see people age and just not feel well. And it's important. You're right. It's important to be with the family. It doesn't matter what you're doing. That's why I told her, I said, we'll just go to a restaurant. And that's fine with me.
Just make it easy on everybody.
Yeah, don't buy gifts. I don't need any gifts. But I don't know if I don't know if Santa's going to bring a date for me under the tree. I might just get the doll that does the splits. I don't know. I don't know. But
did you write Santa a letter and ask him for a date this year?
I'm going to try. You know, I haven't made any headway in that. I know. I did.
You know what? But you know what? When the timing is right, it'll come. You know, like I said, you and I have had countless conversations about this. When I decided to go all in, I went all in. You know, it was three different websites, you know, the dating apps, and because I was bound and determined that I was gonna. Now, you know, God's the one that had the final hand in that. Right. But I thought, you know, I got to go out and buy the lottery ticket so he can at least let me win if that's what I'm going to do. So,
well, I figure I either got to do it now, while I still have some looks before I get really older. But you know what? A lot of people, I was talking to a friend of mine who happened to be my divorce lawyer for my second marriage. She was saying that she's seeing an uptick of what they call gray divorce. Older people divorcing.
Really?
This one lady is 82 and she's divorcing her husband who's 86 because she can't stand him anymore. They've been married like 60 years.
Oh my God.
But she says, he's driving me nuts. He doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to spend any money I mean, I'm not just going to sit here and wait to die.
Wow.
I said, that takes guts.
It does. It does. But I got to tell you, you know what? I'm so fortunate to have, and you were, you know, when you met Rocco, like just so fortunate to have that second time around with things. And I'm sure that woman will do things differently in her second marriage. Because if she's 82 and she's getting divorced, she's going to get remarried. You watch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can tell. And she's just one of those women. I wish I had an ounce of her confidence and security in herself. And that's going to be one of those things one of my New Year's resolutions. And I don't like resolutions. And I don't like a resolution, goal, whatever you call it. Usually, you know, a lot of people don't follow through. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to take care of myself more. Mm-hmm. And I say that all the time. But it is true, because I was talking to my therapist about it, that if you're not taking care of yourself and feeling good about yourself, that's what you're going to show to other people.
That's right.
Now, there is a time, sometimes when I'm feeling good, I'm working, I feel great. That's when you get the attention, because you feel, you know,
but it doesn't have anything to do with weight.
I know it doesn't. I know it doesn't
have anything to do with weight. It's the confidence. It's the joy. It's the, it's everything else. You know, you think about that, right? You look at some of these women, you know, who are tiny and blonde, and you think they're not nice. They're mean, and you know, they're the devil. And so if I had my choice, I'd rather look the way I look,
which is beautiful, by the way.
Be known as somebody with a kind heart and a nice spirit and a good soul, and someone that makes you feel good, as opposed to if I danced with the devil and he said, "What do you want?" I said, "I want to be small and blonde," and they said, "Okay, but you got to have your heart won't be the same." I'd rather have a good heart.
Absolutely, you know, but I've gone blonder. I'm working on that side.
And it looks good.
But you're right. I mean, it gets to a point as you get older, not that we're old, but as you get older, you do see the value of people inside, like being, instead of wearing all the diamonds on the outside, do it on the inside.
But I also think too that was my experience when I dated. The guys that want the tiny blonde that's 20 years younger than them, they're superficial. Mm-hmm. That's not anybody that I would be interested in anyway.
No.
I feel like a quality gentleman is somebody that will love you for you as your person and will take you any way that you come. I really believe that.
Your mouth to God's ears. Please. But I'm gonna work hard. I mean, I just, the holidays to me has so much emotion to it sometimes.
Sure.
That you don't make the best decisions.
Agreed. That's why I like, I have a friend and, we were talking a little bit before we got on about diet and exercise and this and that. And I love it. She joined a challenge at the Y that was just a no gain challenge.
Oh.
It was not to lose.
Mm-hmm.
It was just to get through the holidays and not just to maintain. And I thought that is brilliant because, we all get through the holidays and you just kind of like, throw caution to the wind and you eat everything because January 1st, you're going to start, you're going to start now 10 pounds heavier because you threw caution to the wind and did all the things. But I love this challenge that she's a part of. It's simply a no gain challenge. That's all. We're just going to try not to gain.
And, they're really, I know this sounds cliche, but there really are no diets. It's lifestyle changes.
It absolutely is a lifestyle change.
Because we were talking as before, which we always say we need to start recording before because we really have really good, talk about nuggets of information.
We do.
They come flowing out when it's just her and I here.
But we're not recording then.
No, we're not. But it means, what it means is when you're trying to have a healthy lifestyle, you really don't think about it as much as when you're dieting.
That's right.
Because when you're dieting, you'll think, okay, I can't have French fries. I can't do this because that's this. Where if it's a lifestyle, like tell them about the person, the podcast and stuff about that.
So you have to. She has strong language. So if you're not a person for strong language, you don't want to listen to this podcast. But the name of the podcast is "Losing 100 Pounds with Corinne Crabtree," and she's this tiny. She's a sassy blonde. She's probably gotten down to about 160 pounds, but she did lose 100 pounds. She tells her story about how she has a son with autism who is probably 21 now, but she was an at-home mom with a son with autism, and she gained a bunch of weight. The food was her best friend, and she had convinced herself that because she was overweight that her husband was having an affair, which he was not. It was all a mind game on her. Yeah. And so what she does is she talks about like writing things down today, like tonight, like write down tomorrow what I'm going to eat instead of what, with all the Weight Watchers and stuff that I used to do, you track it. And I still do. I use my Fitness Pal and I'll track what I eat so that I know my calories wise. But I will sit down like the night before or the morning of and say, okay, here's what I'm intentionally going to eat today. And if it's not on my plan, I don't eat it. And she talks about that, like keeping a promise to yourself and how important that is. She talks about the 4 basics. It's sleep, water, planning. And I can't think of what the other one is, but there's just 4 things. The other thing that I like that she says is that you go on keto. I remember Oprah, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oprah lost all of that weight. She got down to like a size 8 or a size 10, like did a whole thing, wheelbarrow or wagon of
fat,
like all the weight that she lost. And I remember listening to her in an interview and she said that was the only day that she weighed that low number.
Yep.
The next day she started gaining weight again.
And now she looks great, by the way.
But she does. And I think it's more.
I think she takes Ozempic.
I don't know that she does. I think she was a spokesperson for Weight Watchers. And I think she learned how to eat. I think she learned portion control. I think she learned, those kind of things. And I'm not, I too would like to lose weight, but I'm not interested in the weight loss drugs. I want to be able to do it because you know what? As soon as those people get off of that drug, number one, I don't want to be on a drug for the rest of my life. Number two, as soon as those people get off of those drugs that is suppressing their appetites, they're going to start eating again.
And it's also, they have side effects to it.
Correct. So I think that if you just learn, and so I like what you said, right? You want to lose weight, but you don't want to give up French fries. I think it's okay. You don't have to give up French fries, but you shouldn't eat French fries breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
No.
Right? But I think that's what I loved about what Corinne was saying is that when you plan, when you are intentional, I think that's it. For me, that's part of my issue, and it has been, I eat unintentionally.
Yeah. I do, not thinking about it.
Yeah.
And all day, like today I had a nice big salad for lunch. I'm fine when I'm working. But when I go home,
yeah,
and I feed the animals, and I look, what do I have to eat? Okay, well, luckily I planned. I have my ground turkey chili. I'll have that. But I put it in a really big ass bowl.
Right.
Oops, sorry. It's a podcast. I can say that.
That's right. And this is why we do this.
That felt very liberating. That's it. That's all I'll do. But yeah, and I'll get cottage cheese, but I'll take a big bowl of cottage cheese to go with it. So I should probably cut my portions in half.
And what you could do is cut them in half and then make a deal with yourself. A lot of it is self-talk. Yeah. Right? A lot of it is, it's okay. Why do I feel I need all of this? That's a question that I would ask. Like if I took a big portion of that, like, why do I feel I need? What I've tried to do is take half of what you think you're going to eat and eat that. And then wait a couple minutes. And then if you're still hungry, you can have more.
Yeah. And that happens to me all the time. And when I do that, I'll think, oh, I need something a bit more. Then I'll eat it and I'll say, no, I don't.
Yeah.
But I don't do that enough. That's
right. You're right. Exactly. Well, I found out for me, what I was doing is that I don't eat enough during the day.
Yes.
But I do that on purpose, subconsciously, so that way that I can get home and say, oh my gosh, I'm starving. I need to eat whatever it is that I want because I haven't eaten anything all day long.
They tell you not to do that. You're supposed to eat like every 3 hours.
Correct. And that, I know when I was pregnant for Seth, I had no choice except to eat every 3 hours. Mm-hmm. But again, when you become conscious of those thoughts and those things that you were doing, and even this Corinne in the podcast, that's what she'd said, if you find that you're coming home and you're starving, bulk up your lunch a little bit. So I have found the older that I've gotten, I snack a lot. Mm-hmm. So like in the morning, I have a protein shake. Then on my way from the studio to the office, I like this Trader Joe's frosted cereal kind of stuff. I have a little snack baggie, not a big baggie, just a snack baggie that I eat that on the way to the office. Then I have a couple string cheese. I snack like I don't have a lot of meals. But what I started to do was I started to add cottage cheese to my lunch. Mm-hmm. So that way then I've got a little protein in there and I'm finding that it's carrying me through and I'm not so starving when I get home. But once I realized that's what I did, it's a self-sabotage thing where it's like, yeah, I haven't eaten anything all day, so therefore I can gorge 5,000 calories at dinner, but I purposely did it.
But then I feel guilty. Then I start banging on my ball. I do cardio drumming thing. Yeah. We still have to go to that cardio.
We still need to go to that cardio drum. I haven't been back since that one time I went, but
we have to go
awesome.
Back.
We need to go.
Yeah. Because that would help the buddy system.
Oh my gosh. I burned 447 calories in an hour.
Fun.
It was fun. It didn't feel like exercise. And she said we did like 350 squats.
If I knew intentionally, I would not be able to do 350 squats if I tried to do 350 squats.
But it was afterwards when it was all done. She knew how many we gave. Yeah.
That's the best way I
can
do
go
squats.
Back again. It was good.
We will do that because it's best for us. But I find like yesterday I got home and I panicked. I only had 2,100 steps in for the day so far. It was 4:00. So I thought, well, no, I got to start working out. So I did work out like for an hour and a half. And then I took time out in between.
Yeah.
And I got up to like 6,800 steps or something. So I said, good. All right. That's all I need to do. And I know that I can still have enough calories in me where I won't be hungry at bedtime.
Yeah.
That's another bad thing.
Yes.
When I'm ready to go to bed, all of a sudden, I'm going to bed in an hour, but I'm hungry now.
Do you know what I started to do when I get that hunger before I go to bed is I make a hot cup of tea with a little bit of honey in it.
Oh, I ate it. I got hot water and I put a lemon in it.
Oh, so I have that in the morning. Mm-hmm. I have hot water with lemon and honey in it in the morning because it helps my voice. Right. With all the talking that I do. Yep. But at night, I have found there's like a spiced cinnamon something or other tea.
Ooh.
And I make that and I put a little bit of honey in it and then I just sit and sip on that. And that is amazing for what that does with the nighttime cravings.
I was wondering because last night I have a 100-calorie, a little packet of oatmeal.
Yeah.
And so I made that before I went to bed.
Yeah.
Well, waited an hour. I thought, wait a minute, is this swimming or going to bed? You wait an hour after you eat to go swimming. What about sleeping? Because I'm always paranoid that I, in my mind, if I eat a lot before I go to bed, I can just feel the fat.
Yeah. That's why, I remember there was a bodybuilder once, and when I looked at her program at one point in time, what they did was they did cottage cheese before they went to bed because it was more protein.
Right.
And so then the protein stuck with you as opposed to like a carb, right? Because a carb you got to burn off. Well, as you eat the carb and then go to bed,
right,
you're not burning it off in your sleep unless you're running in your sleep.
Wow. If there was a way I could cardio drum in my sleep, I would.
Right? Or yes.
Or do something.
Toss and turn enough that I was burning calories. Right. That would be helpful.
No,
yeah.
I don't do that.
No, me neither.
But, it's important to realize, like, after the holidays. So we were also talking about how you shouldn't like beat up yourself during the holidays, because I'm going to have Christmas cookies. Thanksgiving, I had pumpkin pie.
And I think that that's okay. But you know what? Here's the thing. You don't eat pumpkin pie every single day.
No.
Right? You don't eat Christmas cookies every single day. It's okay to have a cookie. And I think that, again, that's the whole thing with the planning, is that you allow yourselves to have the things that you want. But it's also, so one of the women...
Wait. Now, do you add calories to that? Do you know how many calories you're eating or no?
So that's what I use. So she says no.
Okay.
If you talk to her, she's like, no calorie counting, no macros, no nothing. She has helped thousands of women lose weight. And it's just because you are intentional with your plan. And then as it goes forward, then you get smarter, right? So if you go and get a Big Mac meal and you get a large fry and a large Coke, then as and that's the whole thing. That was the other really cool thing about tracking everything and writing it down. Then you have data. When
can always go
overeat?
Back.
Right. Why am I overeating? What was I feeling? So then the self-talk. So the podcast, she even really helps you talk to yourself instead of saying, I'm a bad girl, I overate, you put on the shame shawl. No, it isn't anything about that at all. You start asking questions. Well, why is it at 9:00 at night? Am I hungry? Do I need to eat more at dinner? Am I not eating enough protein? Am I bored? Am I
both?
Right, exactly. And so that's what it does, is that when you do that and you plan, that's what it gives you. There was one gal that was a professor, and she realized that like every 12 weeks she gets stressed out and she eats, and it's because it's not the same. She knows her classes are going to change and that her students are going to change, but when you start to notice that pattern, then you can break that pattern.
Yeah.
So that's what's huge.
Well, that's important too, because I have made a huge lifestyle change in the last couple of years. I really have, because I used to, fry things and eat a lot of pasta, which I love. Now I try and curb it. Either if I want pasta, I'll have a little lean cuisine or something, and that's my pasta. Or I just one day, like you said, I'll have pasta.
Right.
That'll be my pasta day, and then But then I'm thinking, all right, then what if I get hungry later? Well, I'll have a salad or something, so I won't always eat the salad with the pasta. And same with bread. I love bread.
I do too. That's my downfall.
Yeah.
I always said if bread and cheese were fruits and vegetables, I'd be the healthiest person that walked on this earth.
We both would be, wouldn't we? We both would be. But
that would be mine. Yeah. But I think what I loved about this podcast and what she talks about and what she stresses is that you don't want to give all the things up that you love, because once you get the weight off and you start eating those things again, you're going to put the weight back on again. Right. So it's just a matter of, she's trying to really teach you how to change your lifestyle so that you can be this way. I think she's kept her weight off for 7 or 8 years.
Well, it's just something that it's a lifestyle change. So it's to me, that's easier than being on a diet.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you can change and you can actually get in a routine with this change, you've got a chance.
I agree.
And you've got to just realize, okay, in my mind, I'll think, okay, I had a cheeseburger, Culver's cheeseburger Monday. So I'm going to want another cheeseburger. So do I go to Wendy's and get my little, junior cheeseburger deluxe? And I'll do that maybe in another week.
Right.
I not think about it where it comes too many days in a row. And that's what you were saying before. You can't have anything. And that's anybody. You don't have to be overweight. It's not healthy to eat fast food every day for anybody.
Correct. But it's hard, right? So what I've done is just make deals with myself too. Mm-hmm. All right. So we go out somewhere. I get a cheeseburger. All right. I'm going to eat half the cheeseburger and half the fries. I'm going to save the rest for later.
But you? I never do that.
Yeah,
that never works.
I do. Or what I'll do and say, you know what? Those fries look really good tonight. So I'm going to take the bun off the cheeseburger. So I don't eat the bun with the cheeseburger. So I try and kind of balance that out a little bit so that it's better that way, as opposed to just having everything I want all the time. And you know what? It's to the point now where it's like, it's not fun to have everything you want all the time.
No. Because you realize once you eat it, that's when the guilt for me starts.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel really bad about myself after I gorge. That's why you will never see in my house a half gallon of ice cream or a pint of ice cream.
Yeah.
You may see the mini ice cream sandwiches or something that are 90 calories each, because I know better.
Yeah.
I know if I have a pint of ice cream, if it's any kind of chocolate, I will eat it.
And it's funny that you say that, because that's what this podcast host was saying, is that she would sit on the couch with a tub of ice cream and just eat out of the tub.
Yep.
And she said, and so what I did was I made the changes. I didn't tell myself I couldn't have ice cream. I just said that, we're going to take it out of the tub and put it in a bowl. And then we're going to maybe not have ice cream every night. We're going to have ice cream every other night. And then, you know what I mean? And so you just make those slow progressions, those changes, that's what makes the big results. And they're so small and minute that you don't necessarily miss it. And I think, too, that it's weight loss when you get momentum, right? Because once you start peeling that weight off, now all of a sudden you're really excited about it, and then you just want to keep going with it.
Right. And once you see results, but it's to the point of when you get to see results.
Yeah.
Once you do, then it's all good.
Right.
I mean, then you feel really better about yourself, and you're thinking, I'm doing something good. I'm doing something right. And you know what? It isn't that bad.
Right. But I think that you are so close because you really have been good about working out. You know, you're making the difference, like with the turkey chili and that kind of thing. Like you know, I always talk about it's 2 millimeter shifts.
Yeah.
Right. It's not the big things that will make the big changes. It's the little things that you do consistently that will make the big changes.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking, you know, also, you know, once you get in a routine, and I was talking with my doctor as well. I'm lucky. My mom was a bad diabetic. I don't have any sugar problems. I'm lucky about that. I'm lucky. I do have some blood pressure issues, but it's getting better.
Good. And that's because you're moving.
Yeah.
That's because you're working out.
So I'm seeing those kind of results.
Which is good. Sometimes I think that we should take the stress off of. Now, granted, you know, weight loss is important, number one. And, you know, overweightness can lead to other health issues and that kind of stuff. But I feel like if we put the focus on getting healthier instead of getting thinner, I think that would make all the difference in the world for so many people.
I mean, I am so critical about even looking in a mirror at myself. Yeah. I really am. And that's all something that was instilled early in my life. My mom, she loved me, but she was a tough cookie. Not to use a pun, but she didn't give out a lot of praise, and she never really would say anything. And I would see her, she'd be crying, and she goes, "I feel so bad. You ate way too much pizza tonight. You're going to gain so much weight, and it's going to be so hard on your life." You know, she was just got so obsessed with it, and then that made me go the other way.
I would have too. It's like, you're not going to tell me what to do.
And my dad would say, "I love you no matter what." And I, like I said, it wasn't that she didn't love me or anything.
I think the best she could with the knowledge that she had.
That's how she was raised.
That's right.
So I realized, you know, that when she lived in a little house in Mishawaka with my grandma and grandpa, they're Italians.
Right.
And they served food. That was how they loved people.
That's right.
They didn't give a lot of compliments all the time.
Right. But you know what I do when I have days like that too? Because I have days like that too, where I look and I avoid the mirror and, you know, this and that. But you know, what I do is I try and find one thing that I can compliment myself on. Man, your hair looks really good today. Mm-hmm. Man, your eyes look so blue today. Look at how white your teeth look today, right? So but just being able to find one thing that you can look at and just smile at and give yourself that compliment. Again, it's those 2 millimeter shifts that when you do that makes a big difference. Because here's the thing, right? No matter where you are, no matter what you do, you're still God's creation, right?
Absolutely.
And He created you, who you are. He knew these would be the struggles that you have. And if you're getting something that's negative, and I'm getting a little preachy here, but if you're hearing something that's not from God, that's from the enemy, right?
That's from the devil, I think.
That's exactly right. There isn't anything in the Bible that says anything negative about us or anything. And so God wants us to look at the people that we are. So, you know, I want to encourage you to be able to find something. You know, you're having a good hair day. Your eyebrows are on point. You know, your glasses look really good. You got your lipstick on the way you wanted it to. You got jingle bells on. You know, whatever it is, right? But to be able to look at that and do it more positively, I think that helps all the way around.
And also, on another note, I will have my big pajama pants that have they have little Santas holding wine bottles on them. I will be wearing those when wherever I go on Christmas, because
I love that.
I'm going to need the stretchy pants.
Right, exactly.
I mean, this is a season where if you try and lose weight before Christmas or during Christmas, you're going to go crazy.
That's right. That's why I love that no gain challenge, right?
Yep.
Even if you just don't gain anything, right? So just do what you want, have what you have in moderation. And the goal is not to gain, so that January 1st, when everybody goes on their diet, at least you're not trying to lose 10 pounds of holiday weight before you get on to your regular weight loss program. So, just no gain.
And during the holiday season, I have new exercises, like trying to catch Keith Urban, my cat, and clip his nails, or try to put the cute little Santa elf antlers on my dogs for pictures. That is tiring, and I burn at least 500 calories.
That's right. So make sure you put your exercise guy on your watch when you do that.
Well, we're almost time is up, but it's going to be a wonderful holiday.
Yes,
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. The next time we do this, it's going to be 2026.
And I will show you, I will tell you exactly how I'm going to plan things out, and we're all going to do this together.
That's right.
We're all going to start fresh. It is a new year. It's fresh. And don't think, I always start, it's not going to work. No negative Nellies here.
No negative Nellies. Not after the, nope.
Not going to.
Start today. Start fresh.
Start fresh is right. I'm Deb Miles, and you can find me at deb@b100.com or Instagram, Deb5291, and Kim Becker from Hello Gorgeous.
Yep, you can find me at Kim Becker, K Becker at hellogorgeous.org is my email. Kim Becker Inspires on Instagram.
Please let us know if you have any comments about this. Please, we love to hear your feedback.
And if we've helped you or we gave you a nugget, share what nugget you got and share this podcast with a friend.
And it could even be a chicken nugget. It doesn't matter at this point, right?
That's right.
We're not going to start till next month.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Have a wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all. And we will be back. See you next year.
Yeah.
Bye.